Are you sick and tired of feeling unproductive? Then let me show you the routine that will turn you into a creative powerhouse. Like me. If you're new to this channel, then let me introduce myself. My name is Fergus Mulligan, and I am an unemployed actor and filmmaker chasing a pipe dream. Consider subscribing if this video turned your life around, and hit the like button if you spend 90% of your life alone trying to be productive and you still live with your parents. I'm about to take you through my epic daily routine, which completely transformed my creative life from relatively social to being completely recluse. If you want to further delude yourself into thinking you can achieve blissful happiness through productivity, then this is the video you have been waiting for. I set my alarm clock for 7 AM. However, I'm usually wide awake before it goes off, as my daily existential crisis has interrupted my regulated 7 hours of sleep. I usually don't get out of bed until my alarm goes off because I take some sadistic pleasure in contemplating my past regrets and forecasting my inevitable hopeless future for the next half an hour or so. Once I force myself out of bed, I begin my morning pages. This is a writing technique I learned from the book The Artist's Way. I delve further into my existential crisis by recording my stream of consciousness onto the page. I like to believe that I'm dealing with my problems through these pages, but it's actually just a platform for me to feel sorry for myself. Then I meditate for 10 minutes. This is where I try to convince myself that the plan for today that I wrote last night is worth doing, even though today I don't feel like doing anything and all the tasks that I set for myself last night seem like a waste of time. Note that I didn't actually meditate here. I just spent a further 10 minutes exhausting myself with more thinking. I then get up and I make myself a coffee. As anyone who knows anything about productivity knows, you need a solid addiction to caffeine to be able to work on terrible ideas for 8 hours a day. While I drink my first coffee of the day, I like to binge on productivity videos just before I begin my daily slog. Productivity content leaves me feeling shit about my little life and what little I've achieved. But conversely, the guilt I'm left with pushes me to actually make something. I'm aware of the negative impact this addiction has on my general well-being, but I'm worried that I won't be able to function creatively without it. I usually stop watching a Matt D'Avella video halfway through, as I've heard him make the same point every other YouTube video he's made, which gets me thinking, is that the trick to getting more subscribers? Repeating the same mantra each week for years at a time, slowly brainwashing your audience into believing you've got some greater insight than the rest of us play. Once I finish my morning session of procrastination, I finally started my creative work for the day. I set a digital timer on my PC because it's the only way I can stomach working on my shallow ideas for a prolonged period of time. I like to place my phone behind my desk, which prevents me from aimlessly swiping right on Tinder. So basically I'm just, sitting there waiting for the time to be up, constantly doubting the depth and validity of the idea I'm currently working on. And then I congratulate myself for not getting distracted. The timer rings out and the session's over. I've come to associate the alarm with the sweet sound of freedom. After this first work session is when I get my daily exercise in. I literally can't wait for my workout to begin. I'm so desperate to shut off the internal monologue in my head and get back into my body. This daily morning routine of internal chatter followed by physical exercise is the key motivating factor for having a lean physique all year round. My workout consists of me not checking my phone and swiping on Tinder as if there's anyone trying to contact me or email me about potential creative collaborations. I've been practicing this home workout for years now. However, I never see any results. I like to pat myself on the back for staying consistent though. Despite the lack of any progress or gains, I keep telling myself that any day now I'm going to get in good shape, but I've been working out for 6+ years without hardly any results. By the fact I've managed to stay slim, I should remind myself that I have very average genetics and exercise should be viewed in terms of health benefits instead of chasing aesthetics. But of course, the productivity gurus I look up to have brainwashed me into believing that any fitness goals are possible with the right programming and consistency, which leaves me feeling even worse about myself because I can't achieve the unrealistic goal of having a fitness model physique. An attempt to get my step count up for the 10,000 steps a day, from which I probably only get about 4,000 because I spend 90% of my time in my room alone. I walk to the shop and grab my lunch and dinner for the day. I sometimes like to bring my camera with me, so it feels like I'm doing some passive creative work, but I just take the same boring pictures of the same streets from the same boring angles every day. I never post any of these images on Instagram or anywhere else online as I'm too ashamed that after all this time I'm still not good at making any photos. I also like to people watch during my break. I like to observe those who've chosen a 9-to-5 lifestyle, and I like to judge them for being a sellout on their dreams and having a comfortable living. I've developed this bad habit of thin slicing people over the past few years. I do it to feel more secure in my own poor life choices, which convinces me that I'm either on the right path, or conversely, I've ruined my life by thinking that I'm talented enough to pursue a successful career in the creative arts without having the key element of nepotism, and that I should have chosen the safe option and pursued the 9-to-5 desk job like everyone else who isn't a gifted child genius. Once I get home from the shop, I make the first boring meal of the day. It's boring because it's simple, chicken and broccoli, and I make it boring because I need to stay lean, and I need to stay lean for my career as a screen actor, for which I get maybe 1 or 2 tiny TV series each year that pays less than yearly minimum wage. While I eat my first meal of the day, I sit down to some more productivity videos in an attempt to drown out this flavorless meal I've prepared myself, to further remind myself of this narrow-minded perspective I've bought myself into. However, this habit usually can't repress these deeper feelings of anxiety that are bubbling underneath the surface. And then, mid-meal doubt begins to rear its ugly head, and I can't help but question my innate talent as a creative. I've been trying really hard to make a living out of the arts for almost 11 years now without nothing to show for it, bar a couple of embarrassing YouTube videos. So I try to drown out these voices that have been tormenting me from childhood by watching another half an hour of productivity videos, until they've brainwashed me into thinking that there's no such thing as natural talent, and productivity lifestyle will eventually get me to where I need to be. I'm usually exhausted after lunch. On the rare occasion I stop worrying and overthinking for a few moments to get some restless sleep, most days I just lie there fretting time away instead of resting until I force myself back to the desk to continue working on my shallow ideas. The second phase of work is almost completely unproductive, as my anxieties have reached fever pitch by this point. 80% of the work is now spent worrying about whether or not I've ruined my life by pursuing my dreams, and the other 20% of the time I'm attempting to make sense of the unconnected ideas that I'm working on during the morning. After this second work phase, I'll prepare the same boring meal as I had for lunch: broccoli and chicken. During and after dinner, I'll consume some more productivity videos on YouTube for the next hour or so. After a whole day of consuming productivity content and seeing other creators' work output compared to my own unproductive output leaves my confidence now at an all-time low. However, it also gives me a glimmer of hope that someday I will change my procrastinating ways and become the productive artist I've always promised myself I would be. As I have an almost non-existent social life, I've got time in the evening to make one final stab at creating something. I'll give myself the option of working or procrastinating. If I do create something, this can be one of the more productive sessions of my day. By the evening, I've exhausted myself with constant overthinking and worrying to the point where I no longer have any performance anxiety, and now I'm finally ready to get out of my own way and make something. If I do manage to implement one of my creative ideas, I'll be finishing my workday off on a high. However, I'll be brought back to reality the following morning when I realise I've wasted yet another evening developing a shallow idea leading to nowhere. Unfortunately, I haven't learned the basic skills of relaxation and unwinding for the evening. My daily feed of productivity content has brainwashed me into believing there's absolutely no utility in either of these skill sets, as the hustle mentality promotes working non-stop without any breaks. This inability to parent myself has left me vulnerable to addictive behaviours such as watching porn, swiping Tinder, and social media to soothe myself to take the edge off. Once I've showered and jotted tomorrow's dreadful plan of action down, I'll try to be in bed for 10:30 p.m. I'll place my phone across the room I like to play this game with myself where I see how long I can go without checking my phone. As I haven't developed any real sense of willpower, I get bored just lying there, and within half an hour, I'm back watching clickbaity productivity content. Usually I fall asleep with my phone resting on my pillow, still playing content and further disrupting my regulated 7 hours of sleep. If you want success in any creative field, repeat this daily routine for 10 years consistently until you've become a master in your chosen craft. And remember, the key to staying consistent with this routine is to delude yourself into thinking talent, luck, or your situation in life matters towards your success. However, if you're from a working class background, you probably won't have the time or resources to use this method. Thanks for watching, and if this video didn't completely change your life, then consider unsubscribing and leave me a nasty little comment telling me I'm a charlatan.